It's Pauline Douglas, or Madam Splash as you know me, speaking again, and I'm speaking today about something that is really, really important. It's about the cookie hacker. In fact, it's so important because it's actually at epidemic proportion, so we all need to take some action. To understand what a cookie hacker is, you first need to know what a cookie is. Well, it's just a little bit of code. It's a little bit of code that sits on a browser. It's a browser interactive piece of code, and it's used for several reasons legitimately. It's used by the browsers themselves, and the browser of course is your Internet Explorer, your Firefox, your Chrome, and there's a heap of them, and it's used to interact and give back information from the creator of the browser or the website about you. It's commonly used by the advertising industry, because bearing in mind these browsers that we use are actually an extension of the advertising industry, always have been, advertising and marketing. And they keep statistics, what you use, your browsers, your programs, your apps, your IP address. They're monitoring who we're visiting, the keywords we use, and this of course is targeted to the advertising. As I say, there's no such thing as a free lunch. No such thing. Then we have the security cookies, which are cut for websites, and this is for banks and financial industries, for people who create apps, anybody who needs a bit of security. The cookie will examine you, make sure that you're a safe user, and they have their own ways of deciding who's a safe user and who isn't. So you know, there's a lot of information about us out there. They mostly know. But the problem is now cookies are being used by hackers. They can trigger off any code. There's no kind of code that they can't actually trigger. And they show up in our email, because when you open up your email, there's attachments, so those attachments also will interact with the browsers, and in our social media, in our messengers. They're all opening up into browser software, and code is being triggered, which is unwanted. So this means that because of these cookies, we now have to become a cookie smart community, which means we have to become browser smart. So here's what you're going to do. The first things that you're going to do. With your email, you're never going to open up an email from somebody you don't know. You're certainly never going to open up the attachment. And don't open up all the rampant advertising materials. You're going to instruct your browsers to be more cookie smart. You're going to instruct your browser that it's not going to be tracked, it's not going to store cookies. In fact, it's going to close. When you close the browser, it will eliminate the cookies. It's also going to eliminate the history. The history contains all the temporary files which are held by a PC or a device. Once they're gone, they're gone. But you're going to need some additional help for that. And I use a product called Piriform CC Cleaner, which every time I close a browser, it goes and hunts out all sorts of things and cleans them off where these cookies are contained, in the email, in the messengers, in the social media. So pretty much that's all you have to do, and you've got to make sure you do close your browser every day. And the sort of smart people never leave their browsers open. They never leave their internet unattended for long periods of time. Once a cookie comes in and opens up your security, then that hacker goes and calls up all his mates. So one of the biggest problems of the hackers, what they do is they put in piggyback hacking, and it's a big problem for people who are managing websites. This is more for webmasters. If you're managing a website and you happen to be unfortunate to have a cookie hacker following you, well, it's their way of bypassing all your security. Once they're in, they can just follow you. And the best way to identify a piggyback cookie hacker is to install a piece of software called TCP View. This is an essential hackers program. The first thing you're going to look at is the ports which are open. It identifies just a couple of things. It identifies the processes, which a lot of them have the same name. So you think, oh, what's this? But it's the ports that you're looking at. Now, if you have a port which is open by more than, say, 6 processes, you need to clean off your cookies. You've probably got a cookie hacker. Most servers are run on Linux software, and Linux is very, very secure. But the problem is it can't identify yet piggyback hackers. So we have to sort of control that problem. Now, you always have piggybackers because your virus software and your Trojan software and, say, the programs I'm suggesting are also piggybacking you. They're sort of like Joan of Arc. They sort of send their little men ahead of you, and they go and examine to see if it's safe ahead, and that's how they protect you. But they're piggybacking you, and in fact they're jumping over you. They're leapfrogging you to go ahead. PC Cleaner will also hibernate programs that you're not using. Those programs have planted cookies onto your device, so they come in every now and then and do whatever they're doing. Another product I recommend that if you're feeling, really game, is to download Glasswire. Now, Glasswire has got some new experimental stuff as well as just being a very good program. It monitors second by second what's happening on your PC and or your phone. They actually have a version now for Android. So really, that's it. But it is important. There's probably much more to know about cookies, so go and investigate online. Investigate what they are and how they make them. So that's what I thought I'd say today. Have a good one. Madam Splash, signing out.